VeChain is a blockchain Web3 company.
And what would you say are some of the most exciting things then VeChain are working on right now?
We have pivoted into sustainability. We imagine a world of sustainable apps, sustainability apps, and they just reward people for any good behavior.
Do you find then if you're interviewing people to bring on the journey and to join VeChain, let's say a good software engineer, are you also looking for personal projects that they're doing in their own time?
Gosh, you hit the nail on the head there, because Cleanify and Magshot were born as personal projects.
Blockchain, Web3, they've been around for some time. Why do we still see challenges in wider adoption?
So one is user experience, another one is the use cases that have been very niche. On VBetterDAO, on Twitter, we find people saying for the first time I can do real stuff with a blockchain application. And I think that's the next level. So the next level is really enable tokenization for people, easy to use, and gamify that.
Antonio, welcome to the podcast. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you, Martin.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me here today.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for coming. To get it started and obviously to give the listeners a bit of insight, tell us a bit about VeChain, the organization you work for, and your role there as CTO.
Yeah, VeChain is a blockchain Web3 company. It's been there since 2017, founded in 2015, but the ICO started in 2017, and then 2018 was the year that it was launched in mainnet. The main focus at the time, back in the days, was to bring blockchain to the real world asset space. So kind of getting only valuable transaction, making blockchain real for any type of transaction that would have a physical correspondent, pretty much. Track and trace and supply chain was the first low-hanging fruit. So the organization at the time focused a lot on tagging, techniques, digitals, IoT, all these things, and also lowered the barriers for enterprises to enter the blockchain space, the Web3 space. At the time, and there still are, the barriers were running transaction using crypto. We use things like fee delegation, things like that. So you didn't need to have crypto to run a transaction. You could ask any sponsor to do that, and then you would kind of pay in fiat, low transaction fees, a lot of things that will make enterprises saying, okay, I can run my operations on a layer one, or at least that part of my operation. Yeah. So that was the beginning of VeChain, and that's what VeChain has been doing. But then in 2023, we kind of pivoted towards sustainability to say, hold on a minute, what we have here, which is a very low consumption, layer one, Ethereum compatible, kind of stabilized pricing for running the operations, it can actually go into a wider business case, which is the whole sustainability, with an angle of incentivization. So what VeChain is now is trying to build these tools and ecosystem to enable sustainable behavior. You do something good, you get rewarded. Yeah. And that's what VeChain is doing. Role as a CTO, I joined October 2021, almost 3 years now, with the goal to bring VeChain, the technical team, to Europe, to the West in general. So we're based in Dublin, based in San Marino, Italy, but we have people from everywhere. So right now, I think we have folks from Romania, Spain, you can imagine. Yeah. So role as a CTO has been to get that team from zero, opening all the infrastructure in Dublin. Like, imagine opening the Slack account, Office 365, these things. Now we have an entire IT management team. We have a security lead. We have, we reached 80 people, like 64 plus 15 external consultants. So we have a number of 80 people. So it's been a great journey, because then, as a role as a CTO is like, okay, you enter, what am I going to do the first 100 days? Usually an executive has a 100 days plan. And that's the things I'm going to do. I'm going to build a roadmap, deliver a few small things that can be easy wins, and deliver a plan for the future. And, and the second thing I did as a CTO, before even hiring anyone, was to set up what I thought would have been the culture of the CTO team, aligning, of course, with the CEO. So I revised with the CEO. It was funny, Martin. At the time, me and Sunny, who is the founder and the CEO, we were reading the same book. We didn't know which was Netflix, The Culture of Reinvention. You probably read that one. It's a culture. It's a book that says zero rules rule, which means the main rule of the organization would be zero rules. I used a lot of that, and based on my experience, how to manage retention and things like that. And I set up literally a small one slide, our culture. And as a CTO, you're not only a technical guy. You're people management is 80% of your job. Now, it depends from the organization, but it was setting some stuff. Hire adults, direct feedback with good intentions, guys. Deliver, just deliver. Commit your code. Making sure you are within what we believe is good quality, which there are different metrics, and with good DevSecOps techniques, you can achieve that. Just deliver stuff, deliver MVP. Let the market judge your product, not you. Yeah. If you are happy with what you're delivering, you're probably too early. You must be unhappy with what you deliver, and let the others judge. And all these techniques worked. No quick decision making. You got to have quick decision making. In every meeting, there's going to have to be an action and a decision made, whatever that is. And because I think it's 95% of decision can be reverted within a few days. Now, there are other decisions where the CTO needs to be involved, where they can be critical for the organization. Let everyone make the decision. The person that is on the ground knows better than the CTO. Unless it's critical for the organization, can affect the business. So I created this culture, and I shared that during the hiring process, trying to understand what people thought. And believe it or not, a few people were uncomfortable with that.
Really?
Yeah. And some people said, no, I don't want to join. I don't want, because it's like extreme ownership was another thing. When there is a task, it's your task.
Yeah, accountability.
And accountability. So if you can't do the task and you have a problem, it's normal. You figure out how to solve it, which means you raise your hand, you go to most senior people, I have a problem. How do I do that? And then you're still in charge of that task. When you get the help, you try to finish that. So I used a lot of these, type of cultural statement, the rules. And a lot of people were like, I want to work here. That's exactly what I want to do. And others were like, no. But in 2 years, we had zero retention, which never happened in my career. It's now over 2 years, zero retention. Wow. Zero. And I know it's going to happen. It's normal. After 2-3 years, people move on. They want to go higher. They want to get more money. But in general, I think from the team, it's been something unseen. Direct feedback is always tough sometimes. I get direct feedback from my team members. The structure is very flat. Sometimes I give a direct feedback saying, it's not good enough. I expect from you more, and it's tough. But then, it's the feedback. And then it ends there. Let's deliver on the feedback. And it's like nothing happened. So some people are okay with that. Some others are less okay, but it has worked for us really well.
It's the importance of, as you say, radical transparency and that direct feedback. It seems like you had a lot of support from the CEO, Sonny, and a lot of alignment. So that must have helped in the early days.
Sonny is very direct, even with me. Sonny, when he hired me, he said two things. You are not my employee, you're a business partner. A CTO is a business partner. So if your audience wants to know what is a CTO, there are many different versions for that. It's the most senior engineer for many. But, IT is so complicated today, computer software engineering, that you always have your team members being better than you on mobile application development or security or cloud infrastructure or anything, or AI. You get experts in it, and so the CTO has to be able to speak to everyone. So you need to have a preparation which is 360. You need to know everything, and with a few things where you're very deep. But the other thing is that the CTO is a business partner, and the CTO makes the decisions in the end. So Sunny said two things: you're a business partner, and you make the decisions. It's your decision, and I made the decision. Always. Sometimes it was like, are you sure about that? Well, it's my responsibility. I said, okay, go with it. And, from the rest of the leadership sometimes as well, there would be like pushbacks like, are you sure we are not paying too much, or are you sure we could see if we can save some money there? And I was like, no, I think that's the best decision for the business. It has worked well. But then you need to be accountable. When there is a bad decision made, you have to say it. You have to say, we could have gone into the other direction. We could have said, put your hands up, but I'm going to fix it in this way. And so far so good. So the support has been there, definitely.
And what would you say are some of the most exciting things then VeChain are working on right now?
Well, I said at the beginning, we're working on, we have pivoted into sustainability, and we released the white paper last year, the third white paper of VeChain.
Yeah.
Which talks about the biosphere, which we imagine a world of sustainability apps based on, and they just reward people for any good behavior. And so they go from, recycling to steps to cycling to recycling oil to taking a coffee cup into a sustainable mug to cleaning up your areas. So we created what we call VBetterDAO. So you can visit vbetter.com or vbetterdao.org. A few forwarding there. And it's a DAO. So it's on top of the layer one. It's like any other DAO, where several applications that work on sustainability can propose themselves, and they can say, we want to be part of the DAO. There is a token, it's called Better, which is the token that then if the users, the community votes for the app, the app will receive these tokens. These tokens are to be distributed to the user base. So, and we have applications like, as I said, Cleanify. You go there, you clean your neighborhood, and then the app rewards you. We have Vivo, which is a smartwatch. Done by a bunch of friends of mine, and they applied to get into the VBetterDAO, and basically based on steps, good sleep, good eating, all this stuff, you get rewarded. And then with this Better token, what are you gonna do? Well, you can. At the moment, we're in testnet, so we're launching in mainnet in 8 days, I think. Okay. So, but all the digital assets will be transferred from testnet to mainnet. So it's basically live, but the testnet gives us, if anything big happens, we can repivot quickly. But nothing happened. So people can vote. So can swap the Better token for Vote token. It's called Vote Tree. And then they vote for the apps they like, and they get rewarded for that voting exercise. Okay. Quadratic voting, of course, to avoid manipulation of the market, typical stuff. But that's very exciting because, Martin, I'll give you an example, okay? One of the apps that was done, Cleanify, you just get there, you tag yourself, and you say, I'm here, there's a geolocation, take a picture, I'm going to clean up this area. You clean up and you show the picture before and after. And they're using AI a lot and when AI is not sure, there's some manual intervention there. And it can only improve, because these are just, MVPs that then become better and better and better. It can only improve. But the thing is, a very famous fighter of the UFC, because you can also launch campaigns. So with my 10 friends here, we're going to clean the entire beach in Portmarnock. I've seen that done plenty of times. But you can be rewarded. And so very the UFC champions, lightweight, cleaning up using Cleanify. So there's 10,000 actions a day, or 8,000, 9,000 per day. And then you get guys in Japan, guys in Korea, South Korea, you get guys in the US, Europe, Middle East. You're like, the reach of Web3 is great. Now, why I'm excited? Because it makes sense. And I'm excited because it's the first time that someone is taking the Web3 space in the hands of the people. So the feedback I'm getting from the community is like, for the first time, I can do something on Web3 that is not just buying tokens and NFT. Yeah. So there are actions that are tracked on blockchain, or maybe not, but they're then rewarded through blockchain in any case. The other one that just joined is Oily, which is the UCO network. These guys are building on VeChain. The cooking oil. Yeah. Now, the one you have at home may be limited, but imagine restaurants and any type of fat. They do biofuels. So you recycle that, and you get the reward from UCO token, but you also get our reward. Yeah. And with our reward, you can get UCO tokens to UCO guys to basically have more liquidity for them. But that's the excitement. It's the fact that there are even apps where you can learn about sustainability. And after every learning, you just say, you answer to a questionnaire. And then you get tokens because you got some understanding of what sustainability is. It's a shift of the paradigm of sustainability, if you ask me. Because we are going from sustainability as heavy regulation, taxes, extreme, Sunny always used this sentence. When I talk about sustainability with someone, they say to me, how much money you want? What do you want? What do you want us to pay? What's the punishment here? Yeah. Okay. If I'm sustainable, I should be rewarded.
Yeah, of course.
Sustainable means that I should be paying less, not more. And we are trying, and it shouldn't be top to bottom, but should be bottom up. Yeah. So the idea is if you get everyone, to behave more sustainable with simple actions, what's the global impact? Like just Sunny was mentioning 5 billion cups every year of coffee.
Really, yeah.
It's an insane number. I mean, you can do the research and the listeners can do better research, but only that one. If you can save 20-30% every year on that one, well, how much that would be? Yeah. So this is only the beginning. We have 8 apps at the moment, done a bit by VeChain, a bit by others. After the mainnet launch, I think we expect to get by the end of the year to around 20. But the idea is probably to get something like a store, an application store for sustainability apps into the Web3 space. So for us, it's the most exciting thing I ever worked on, because it's, to be honest, never saw anyone with my app or with in South Korea, I clean this thing, you wake up in the morning, or even say, it doesn't work well. We had a problem with the one apps, and the guy said, I can't connect my wallet, and was on Twitter somewhere around the world, and okay, let's fix that.
It's so interesting to see, even before this podcast, when we were sitting down for a coffee, you were using the app to take a photo of the coffee mug.
Yes.
And if that coffee mug is sustainable or sustainability, then you get a reward.
I got one better for that thing. Now, if you take it into a coffee shop with your friends, you get 3 betters, but you have to be geolocating yourself into the coffee shops. It's AI-based. There is a barista AI, we call it. So the AI, which is OpenAI, tells you whether the cup is sustainable or not, and there will be further techniques. Another thing we have launched recently is EV-Earn. It's in MVP stage. It's very basic. At the moment, you connect your wallet with your Tesla, you take your VIN number, then you charge. And then after the charge, you get a reward based on better. And I know that's still a bit contentious, because is that electricity really sustainable or not, where it comes from? But it's the beginning. In the future, we're going to now link them directly with the Tesla account. So you can log in on your Tesla account and link the wallet together. And maybe we may change into driving. When you drive, for sure you're polluting less than using petrol. And these are the type of apps that people are doing. There's another one is Green Card, where after you do shopping in Lidl or Aldi, you take a picture of your receipt, and it shows whether you paid digitally, which is more sustainable than paying cash. That's one of the things. And I know, I'm a crypto guy. I like digital cash, but from a sustainability point of view, paying digitally is just greener. That's the way it is. Yeah. And then if you had vegetables, organic products, all things that make sense sustainable, you receive points, and then it calculates. And so every week, I think there is 4 or 5 receipts you can do every week. And I think I've done already a couple this week. So
lots of veggies in your trolley then.
It's for me, as I said to the team, Sunny pushes everyone to say, you need to have more better token than me.
Yeah.
Which means you got to test the app. Yeah. So for everyone, you just go on VBetterDAO, you download the VWorld wallet, and then you start playing with the apps that are there. There are only 8. You'll see probably 10 in the next couple of weeks, and then it goes to 20 30, etc., hundreds, thousands.
Brilliant. And tell me, in terms of your own journey, like I know how you moved through the ranks to CTO, but how did you end up, I guess, in a career that's so centered around blockchain and crypto?
Yeah, no, it's an interesting one because I was doing quite the opposite before. It's kind of quite a question. Let me tell you more. I learned first about Bitcoin in 2010. I read the white paper. I didn't stick with me. I didn't understand it. I didn't know what the problem we were trying to solve. And that is a bias because we have a financial privilege, okay? And I think our financial system, although it has problems, we saw in 2008, we still have some basic rights that make it work okay for us, all right? So I didn't understand the need of peer-to-peer cash at the time.
Yeah.
Sorry, but that was my initial impression. And I didn't see the need of kind of issuance that was very well defined. There's a technical term for it. Doesn't come to my mind right now. But, these very well defined issuance, the Coinbase transactions, like why they are defining like that. Like we have the central banks. And I should have known better because being Italian originally, the Italian central banks in the 60s and 70s and 80s, we were running at inflation at 2 digits.
Yeah.
But I just at the time, it didn't really struck me much. In 2011, there was the WikiLeaks cases with Assange. And you may remember that he got locked out of credit cards, bank account, PayPal, everything. He had no access to any financial instrument. Which basically means you're stuck. Yeah. You can't survive. Yeah. Imagine if that happens to you. Oh, you have only cash in your hands. How do you do that? And I said, okay, what is he going to do? And I said, paying in Bitcoin. And that's when I started understanding the reason, one of the reasons, which was that censorship-resistant capabilities of Bitcoin. You can send money to anyone, and your financial privilege is guaranteed, no matter what.
Yeah.
And that's when I started getting into Bitcoin. But that was it at the time. Then after, I was big data lead in EMEA for Deloitte. And in Ireland, I've always been based in Deloitte, Ireland. Many friends here, still very close friends, 11 years in Deloitte. Just best days in my life, I have to say. Strong connections with these guys. Very smart people. And I was doing big data, and you imagine big data is about making sense of large data sets, getting large data sets under management. Yeah. So they're too big, they come in different forms, they're structured, non-structured, usual stuff. You need to get insights out quickly and connect all these data together and making sense of them. And I was working with governments, large insurances to make sure everyone, they were on top of these data.
Yeah, of course.
And then during that time, when I was doing that, the Snowden files appeared. Then I went to work for a bank, still doing the same. The Snowden files came out, which they were big data architectures. Yeah. They were using Hadoop. If you go and download the Snowden files, you see a lot of technical documentation there. And that struck me to say, hold on a minute. Like we're giving away all our data without knowing what people are doing, there's got to be a different way. And then at the same time, 2016, Cambridge Analytica, you remember the whole scandal.
Yeah.
And I started questioning the whole thing. And I just started searching for an answer. Like, there's got to be a different thing, a different way. And then I learned about Ethereum that was launched the year before. And the Web3. And the internet computer and IPFS, all these new ideas of peer-to-peer where there's self-sovereign data.
Yeah.
Self-sovereign data for the first time where you can there are ways in which you can share your data in a way that you share only to who you want to share. You can give consent. You can share portion of it. Now, it's very technical. You can do it in multiple ways. And that's when I started getting into it. I had left Deloitte at the time. Then they rang me saying, listen, we're opening a blockchain lab. And I said, really? Yeah, we need a technical leader here. And I just jumped into that ship. It was the end of 2016. And we started doing all type of work in blockchain at that moment. I resigned from the position in the bank where I was, got back there. All type of work was we were talking to clients about Bitcoin. They were laughing at us.
Yeah.
I said, you're going to need custodial services in the future. This will become institutionalized. A lot of them laughed at us. Some didn't. Some notorious names that you see out there now doing ETFs, etc. And then we did a lot of work in all things related to Web3, from digital certificate, digital identity, digital education, whatever the Web3 was trying to solve at the time. So I did that for a long time. I then met with the VeChain guys in 2018, became an advisor for them while I was at Deloitte. We did a lot of work with them around track and trace, tracking pork, and going into China. So things like that. So there was a lot of digital certificates for business, ISO type of certification, all these things. And then after 2 years, I really wanted to focus in that area. And the CEO of VeChain said, "Why don't you come with us? We're opening in Deloitte and in Europe." And the rest of the rest of the story. That's been 3 years now.
Yeah, it's almost like the blockchain universe. You were reading it, you were researching it.
Yeah, they just happened to come. Yeah. Oh no, I was very lucky to get that call from Deloitte, because then that changed my life, to be honest with you. And they'll always be grateful to that team, because they gave me, because then when I was in Deloitte, after a few months, they made me global CTO for crypto and blockchain.
Yeah.
It's a big four. It's the largest consulting firm in the world. And then I started being on a plane all the time. But that, works in the Middle East, works in Northern America, works in Eastern Europe, in Northern Europe, Norway. So it was, it's been an exciting journey.
Yeah. And how did you find that initial reaction, when you're working for a large consultancy, you're talking to banks, financial institutions, you're telling them about blockchain and the importance, and as you say, some are laughing and some are still naysayers.
Yeah, well, I think they're most in the current financial system, there's a lot of naysayers. How do I react to the laughing? I mean, at the time, I was so deep into it, because I knew at that moment the problems we were trying to solve. So some of the laughing guys, like, Bitcoin will never have any value. I'm like, you really don't understand gold and digital gold and the store of value, because all we need is something that we all agree upon to store something. And I said, listen, this thing is happening slowly, but it will go there. So my initial reactions were like, they will come back. A lot, they were already starting looking at the time at custodial solutions, which were not widely available like now. Now you have the likes of Coinbase, Fireblocks, Combo, many others, many. More resistance around anything at the time related to digital assets, because that was going to wipe part of the business, because it's, you disintermediate the bank. So there's been a lot of work then they try to do around CBDC, working with central banks. I think they all died out for several reasons. But the yes-sayer, they are also the ones that are actually very big into tokenization. So tokenization of everything, tokenization on any financial instrument and financial value that is out there. And they're now talking very loudly on Twitter. You go there and they say these things. I'm not going to mention names, but then you say, okay, that's exactly what I was trying to say since 2016. Yeah. So we have gotten there. Now, it's extremely disruptive, this thing. So it may take a few more years. How many years took to get some sense of AI? We're seeing it only now.
Exactly, yeah.
And we're talking about that. It's more than 20 years.
Yeah, you're always going to have naysayers, especially when it comes to anything that's going to disrupt different industries.
In terms of AI, I don't think anyone expected to be so disruptive. I don't think, because I was talking to people, to doctors back in the days. And I know this is a Web3 podcast, but I always say an AI company is a Web3 company. Yeah. Otherwise, it's not a good AI company.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah. But it was interesting. And then I spoke to dermatologist said to me, listen, in terms of melanoma finding, AI is as good as me. And that was the line for me. That was the line. So in terms of Web3 and financial services, a good blockchain protocol and a good DAO would probably be as good as any fund management company out there. So,
do you find then in Ireland that you're in good company? Let's say someone is finishing university and wants to get into the blockchain space. You know, you've got Coinbase, VeChain.
No, it's Ireland. There's good company now. For several reasons. I think the technology talent is here, and so many people don't realize when, you created a goldmine effect in this country. I've been in Ireland 17 years, which is basically the large corporations, the Amazon, the Google, the Deloitte even, and anyone else, startups, medium companies in software and technology, they created a leadership in tech. And this knowledge has then gone down and has created this sort of goldmine effect where universities are listening, where kids are listening. And it's an important career path to be in technology. So we are in good company because of what Ireland has done in the past 20, 30 years. It's not because of me that we are in good company. It's thanks to what others have done. Now, I hope that I'm helping, because by bringing VeChain, you walk in the streets, sometimes people stop me. Say, I see, because I always wear a VeChain shirt. As marketing never sleeps. That's another another thing.
Got all the merch on.
All the merch on. But you're the CTO of VeChain. You work for VeChain. I know you guys, and so we're doing also this work. But it's thanks to the tech footprint that Ireland has built over the decades. For a young guy, all I can say is, study computer science, cybersecurity seriously. So cryptography is crucial. So you need to have the maths and the cryptography understanding a little bit. Then study computer science as they teach in school. It's good enough. Learn to code. I'm still a guy that likes to code in C and assembly. I'll be honest with you. That's the way I learned in high school. And to me, if you can, I'm old school. I stay away from very, very front-endy stuff. I let my friends work with React and other stuff. I say, guys, please don't make me do things like that. But it's my background is more in that area. But I always say, learn to code, learn algorithms, try to understand also how the computer works, because then a lot of virtual machines that in the end are the base of the blockchain layers. They have a fundamental system that works like they emulate a computer. So you always have memory, you have a storage, and you bring things into registry. So all this concept needs to be learned, I think. And I think universities may be losing a little bit around this no understanding of computer systems, operating system, and C language and things like that. So I would suggest you focus always on that. You understand the maths, understand cryptography, and then go into the Web3. Do any online training is good enough. There's a lot out there. Find one you like. Learn to code in. Try to understand what Web3 is. There are different platforms. Ethereum is kind of leading the way with EVM. We are EVM compatible. So I would say learn Solidity. Try to deploy your smart contracts, your NFTs, your tokens, anything. Play with that and try to create the app. So literally try to create application that connect with the blockchain from a mobile app and things like that. Once you have done a couple of simple D apps, then it's all downhill. Just careful when you make technology decisions that the Web3 space is still not as mature as other tech can be. Now, Martin, even if when sometimes you go into the cloud and you get some services there, you may get disappointed even there from the maturity of those services. So it happens everywhere in tech. But just make sure you everything ticks the boxes. Be ready to having to rewrite a lot of stuff, because that framework doesn't support a simple return from a blockchain, whatever, and you have to rewrite using a different framework, and that breaks your heart. So be ready to bang your head. So be patient. Yeah, a couple of times. It just happened recently. It was one thing we didn't know, and now we have a 2 weeks rewriting. And happened to other apps that were in the VeBetter ecosystem. Yeah. It's okay. It's part of the journey.
Do you find then if you're interviewing people to bring on the journey and to join VeChain, let's say a good software engineer, are you also looking for personal projects that they're doing in their own time around blockchain and Web3?
A lot. Gosh, you hit the nail on the head there, because Cleanify and Magshot were born as personal projects. Yeah. So one thing I'm doing is, we are a foundation. We hope that people come up with ideas and they set up their own companies. Yeah. If Magshot and Cleanify, they become big, I hope they can become large company. But like Magshot, Cleanify, Green Card, they were internal ideas of the team of VeChain, which during the weekend they spin it off and they set it up. Yeah. But that's Web3 spirit. We want that, because Web3 is about ownership, folks. So Web3 is about enabling everyone to create value. So you can't stop people from creating an app that they want. Now we are even doing a VeChain, and I announced that briefly a few weeks ago, but I'm going to formalize in the next week or so, next month or so, 1 day a week to work on a project that you love. Okay. And you can incubate within VeChain, and then we'll figure out how to spin it off. So because most of the value we are seeing, not most, but a lot of the value that we're seeing is from these ideas from our engineers to do anything. Not everyone needs to have the greatest idea. You need to keep the green light on, so things have to work. And so things work. But then you need the innovation leaders, then you need the ideas from the engineers, and you need to give them time to innovate. I remember Cleanify, which is so important. The team wanted to go to, was an Ether dev event in Istanbul. I said, Antonio, can we go? One thing I do is I always say yes. Yeah. My answer to you is going to be yes. To my team, always. Yeah. No matter what. And they know that. Because I made that a cultural thing. But then you give something back to me. I say yes, and you return. So I said, yes, you're going to love Istanbul. You're going to develop something on sustainability that rewards users. And they developed Cleanify. And I think they won a prize. You can Google that. And then they integrated on VeChain. So I sent the team to a hackathon. So they enjoyed the trip. And they came back with something valuable for me. Yeah. It's a win-win. Yeah, so one thing as a CTO, and I've been in the years, and leadership models have changed a lot. And, you needed to be a tough leader back in the days. Toughness was seen as, and toughness, I don't mean a masculinity thing. I mean toughness at any level, women, men, any gender. Like that strict, that you say no first. Yeah. Say no most of the time. If people deserve, maybe you say a yes or two. And, and I work in organizations that were like that. That was the model. It's not a criticism. But then I realized by saying yes, what VeChain has achieved in the past 2 years was unthinkable. And listen to the people, sometimes there are complaints. Sometimes like, I don't like that. Like, I don't think it's fair, Antonio. Okay, what does fair look for you? X, Y, and Z. Yes, but you deliver on this in this way. Yeah. You make sure it happens. And many people think that saying yes is weakness, or it's not. It requires a lot of courage. Yeah. Because when you say yes, it's not that you are naive. Yeah. I know very well that when I say yes, it's oh gosh. Yeah. The guy can be taking advantage. Let me use the proper English language. But but I know that if you have sold a vision of what you want to do, and the team has joined you in a pretty much a Web3 startup with all the risk that entails in the modern world, they really want to be here. So when you say yes, you're saying, you know what, I know there is a risk, but I'm going to say yes now because I think you are onto something, or it's important for you, and I trust that you're going to deliver on that one. no one has ever failed me, or very, very few times. And when it happened, it was so small that in a couple of weeks we could revert that thing, and it was fine. Like the delivery didn't go quite there, but a couple of more weeks of work it went there. So it's my style is that one to and I say a lot of yes also to vendors. We have external guys. Some of them are known, like the Electi consulting team, because we announced that publicly. And they've been some of the greatest contributors to VeChain, enabling us to make sure we are compatible with account abstraction, which is that level of having a wallet, social media login, and many other things. And they're now working with us on the core protocol. Like he creates a thing like, you don't find many like him. Let's nurture that guy, because if that guy is gone and he doesn't trust us anymore, then it's going to be hard work to replace a guy like him. So I didn't read that anywhere, Martin, about the fact that by saying yes, you would have been. I think the Netflix book probably mentioned that a few times, but I learned myself that when I was in other organization by myself, when they were telling yes to me, try this, go and try that, I will always come with something.
Oh, definitely.
Back there was.
It's empowering when you say yes. And
yes.
You mentioned that at the start of it. You mentioned that at the start of the podcast with the CEO Sonny, and the culture that you set. You know, to hire adults and people who you're going to entrust, and obviously empower when you say yes. You know.
Yeah. But this morning there were 2 meetings which I was invited. I cannot make all the meetings. So if I'm not necessary, I say, guys, I'm going to listen into, and they're making the decisions there. And also when someone cuts the corner, it comes to me, someone from external organization or even within the organization saying, Antonio, we would need this thing to be done. Well, talk to the product manager. Direct. Another thing that I removed is all bottlenecks in communication. Slack is there for everyone, or anything tool. You talk directly to the developer. And sometimes even Sunny says to me, Antonio, can I talk to your guy? Sunny, you're the CEO. Okay, get a talk to him. Like, let's not. But it's another thing that I suggest everyone is to make sure the communication is there. It's very difficult to get right. So, usual stuff, do monthly updates for everyone, meet in person from time to time because we're all remote. And make sure you're not a bottleneck in the communication. So run teams that are self-sufficient for all parts of the organization and let them talk and make the decisions. And then you see the results, you comment a little bit. But to be honest, back in the days, I'm a guy that talks a lot. You may notice that. But back in the days, I always wanted to give my opinions about something.
Yeah.
You're building something, then you should change the color there. You're doing that, so why don't we do it this way? Now I just don't want to give that opinion anymore. I don't care in giving an opinion. I just want to see what you guys are coming up with. And then in the end, I may say, maybe it should be a bit smoother here, or maybe it should be, but otherwise, you don't want to get things built in the way you want. You're hiring people that are smart. Let them do the job. Then there are these moments of disappointment, but try to be realistic about, okay, what went wrong? Is that everything to throw away, or it's just a couple of things that went wrong and we can fix it? As I said, we didn't get much problems, and it's been a success story. A lot of delivery. And we delivered better DAO in 2 months. Have you ever seen a DAO delivered in 2 months? We were tested in 2 months. Like an entire website, mobile apps, a wallet in 6 months, with a team of 6-7 people. Speed of delivery, very agile, constant releases. We had our problem. There was a crash on a wallet for a month that we couldn't figure out. And the community was kind of saying, guys, it's crashing. And then was a small bug. We fixed with a line of code. Sometimes happens. But you're like, now everyone loves it. We got 1.2 million downloads of our wallet since the launch. 1.2 million. I said to one of my senior product manager, Vinay, when I hired him, it was the first hire in Ireland. I said to him, going to build the wallet, it has to be 1 million downloads. And he was laughing at me. Once we reach 1 million, it was like, I can't believe you really. I said to him, I never made anything that was used by 1 million users, to be honest. All software that I made was kind of custom for a limited number of people, like 10,000, 50,000, 100,000
but
max.
not 1 million,
1 million, you go to a different scale.
Yeah, exactly.
1.2 million, it's a lot. It's a lot.
Well, it's down to look at the people that you hire and the cultures that you set. And as you said, it's probably why no one's left. So
yeah, it's also the structure. Yes, I have leadership position, but the structure is very flat. There is work I need to do usually you need to reshuffle as the team grows. You need to make new leaders, move leaders around, getting them new titles. Remember, people each person wants a different thing.
Yeah.
Money.
Yeah.
Title.
Yeah. What's their drivers?
Experience.
Yeah.
Working from home. Don't be bothered. Everyone wants a different thing. Build cool stuff.
Yeah.
So you need to adjust. Say yes within reason. Yeah. And let them do the job. Yeah. And be there to listen.
Yeah, exactly. That's the way you lead. So obviously it's working, which is great. When it comes to then blockchain, Web3, they've been around for some time. Why do we still see challenges in wider adoption?
Well, the typical answer, UI, UX experience, wallet experience. Vitalik said we need to bring 1 billion users, I think, Vitalik Buterin. And the account abstraction is working to that direction, which we are delivering as well by September. We already have the smart contract, but it's that user experience. Yeah. Your dad setting up seed phrase on his wallet. That's one. 2 is really use cases. Like at the moment, there's a lot of work in DeFi. There's been, and they're for a niche type of people that care about financial services, etc. So they want loans. They want to put their money somewhere where they receive a APY. Things like that. So there've been very niche protocols there. So one is user experience. Another one is the use cases that have been very niche. In the past, I would have told you that, and that's an important answer here, because a few years ago, my answer to this question would have been, in the end, Martin, people are not going to care whether there is a blockchain behind that or there is internet behind that. They're just going to click their thing like VeChain was trying to do, tag, and say, okay, your product is legitimate. Yeah. You're using blockchain, but they don't know. And probably blockchain will be more and more integrated behind the scenes like that. And I would have answered to you like that. So with these 2 answers, UX, user experience, 3 answers, solutions that are very niche, and the fact that in the end, we need to build something where people don't know there is a blockchain. However, I'm finding now something different with the VBetterDAO. Once you get people become more comfortable with the idea of tokenization, where everything can be a token, a reward token, an NFT that represents a recycling gallon of oil, an NFT that represents a piece of meat, an NFT that represents anything. Once they understand that, what they want is to be able to use it. Like bringing use cases where people can play with the tokenization is probably the next thing for me. And, because I think you heard the answers I gave to you about user experience, very few use cases, or in the future, people will not know that there is blockchain behind. Okay, these are good answers, but I tell you one more now. Tokenization. So letting people become more comfortable with tokenization. On VBetterDAO, on Twitter, we find people saying for the first time, I can do real stuff with a blockchain application. I can take a picture of my mug. I can clean up my street. I can go walk somewhere and I receive some tokens. I can recycle the oil. I can learn some stuff and get a reward. So I see that there is a real application for blockchain. So VeChain has always been leading real world assets. But now we are taking this real world asset and gamifying with people, saying to people, you can do something with them and blockchain. And I think that's the next level. So the next level is really enable tokenization for people, easy to use, and gamify that so that people are engaged. So engage people with real world asset, with behavior, with things, build apps that that get people engaged, and we haven't done that in this space. And I think this might be, I think we may be up to something, because whoever I told to about VBetterDAO, everyone comes up with an idea. Immediately. And then every time you release it, there's thousands of people using it. And at the moment, it's pretty much VeChain community and a bit more. But as things become more of public knowledge, everyone will be able to. All you need to do, you download the vWorld app. We will integrate account abstraction in the future so you can log in very easily. We don't get into the technical details here. Or some of the apps are even already doing themselves social media login, and they manage the wallet with different solutions, Web3 Auth, Privy, and others. So they can do that for you. And then all people have to do is to just go around and playing with the apps and behave sustainable. And then they receive the tokens. And you get them excited about tokenization. Then they say, what can I do with this token? Can I cash? Can I vote? Can I get some discounts somewhere? And that's the whole tokenomics that is still being refined.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Like, the one thing I think is, let's say my mother comes to me and she's 67 and she says, oh, I want to buy cryptocurrencies. What kind of advice do you give to someone like that?
Tell me something. Does your mother use a lot of apps?
Some
apps.
Shopping out, Tesco, Lidl, that type of thing.
To your mom, to buy cryptocurrencies, is use Web2 players that do that for you. And you have the exchanges, basically. They have now a decent UI, UX there for everyone, because that's what large banks use now. So tell your mom, literally, mom, this is like your whatever bank account you have, username, password, and you have probably a two-factor authentication. These are the three things you need to save. You go there, you buy, you see how much you have, and so I will say simply that the user experience of buying crypto has improved heavily. Now, if your mom tells me I want to use blockchain in real life things, what is this Web3 in real life thing? Maybe tell her about the VBetterDAO and start playing with our apps, and maybe we'll get some feedback if they are very easy to use. I think they are. I think in the next 3 months, between now and September, October, it will really become, because we are integrating with a couple of providers, will become easily accessible to everyone. All your mom needs, if she has a Google email, probably logging with Google or with Facebook or with anything else. So we're getting there.
We are getting there. It's similar to,
But as I said, it's also use cases. Right? So why your mom is not interested in crypto? What could you do with crypto so far? Buying cryptocurrencies, she can use an exchange. Some DeFi protocols, probably not for her. A few gaming apps, but that's more for young generation, where the tokenization of gaming assets are understood by them very well, and there is a lot of gaming going on in the crypto space, which I find it beautiful. I think it's good. It makes sense. Why not? It's one of the things. But then other apps, there's much, and we are trying to bridge that gap.
Yeah, it's like when my mother and father first saw me with Revolut, and they were saying they'd never use it, but now they are using it. So.
By the way, your mom, you can buy crypto on Revolut. Sorry.
Oh yeah, she has.
So I should have answered Revolut. In fact, VeChain, we have been listening to Revolut 10 days ago. Both tokens, VET and VTOR. So you can use Revolut. That's another good app in general. There's plenty of
lots to get it. And what about when someone asks you about NFTs? Have you ever bought NFTs? Why should they buy them?
I bought NFTs a bit for testing sometimes. We recently released a marketplace as a service product which enables every company to open their NFT marketplace. Now, it's at the moment, if you want it, you contact us and we spin up one off for you in a few hours. It's going to be drag and drop in 2 months now, in probably end of July, beginning of... The first one was Gresini, which was the motorbike company. Ducati, they're Italian. It's kind of a small craftsman style. But they put some NFTs about one there. They're digital tokens in the end. I got an NFT which represents a painting, was a present that was made to me. I shared that publicly. It was Anna Cooney, one of, she's an artist living in South Africa. And she sent that paint to me as a welcome to VeChain, because they published their work on World of V, which is a marketplace that runs on VeChain. And so as a welcome, they said, best of luck with your career. And she sent me that paint, which is tagged, has a tag, and so an NFT on VeChain. So it's a digital. But no, other than that, I don't do much because, simple images, I'm not big into that. I'm not big into collectibles myself. Never been. But NFT's future is utility of NFT. I think Martin, probably other podcasters here, they're giving you the same answer. But an NFT in the end is a non-fungible token. It's almost like a digital certificate, almost. It's tradable, so digital certificate is untradable, but let's say it represents uniquely something that you cannot, you can send to someone else, but it's not fungible. So can this NFT give you something in the future? Well, one NFT I have here, which I could show to you, is the NFT from the VBetterDAO, which says, gives me the profile on the VBetterDAO ecosystem as let's say as a voter. And so you can buy a higher NFT so that when you vote, you get a bigger reward. So mine is NFT GM Earth, the basic one, because we only started. But so NFT that represent maybe something, a value that you can unlock something else. Find a utility for an NFT. It's almost like a username and password for something. It's a profile. When you look at authentication, authorization gives you in cybersecurity. Authorization gives you the ability to unlock features. Could the NFT become your authorization kind of key to unlock some of the features? That is what we are building on VBetterDAO, and feature being more reward. Can others do the same thing? You have an NFT that represents a particular pension fund, and so you draw that much, or whatever else. So we're gonna have to move towards the utilities of NFTs. To be honest, Martin, we did NFTs in 2019 in Deloitte. We did the DMVGL project, DMV is called now, which was digital certificate, ISO certifications. We issued 200,000 of those, but we called them digital certificates. We didn't know they were NFTs back in the days. We passed the transactions of Bitcoin for a week because it was constantly issuing of them. We hit the news back then. And that was a utility because it's a digital identity for a business. Now, the idea was to use that digital identity to do other stuff, to do bids, to present yourself into a particular jurisdiction, saying, with this NFT, you can work in this jurisdiction. So imagine what you can do with an NFT as a certificate, as something that can unlock other stuff. So that's what I see, the next value. But I'm not saying that collectibles are bad. Actually, they're quite nice, and people love it. I'm not into it. It doesn't mean that it's by any means a stupid thing. It's a store of value for many. Digital collectible and physical collectible, for me at this stage, being a Web3 guy, are the same thing. So if you buy a whiskey or you buy an NFT, whiskey that can make money over the years, or an NFT, it's as good as.
Yeah. Now, definitely widely adopted, and the younger generation coming in.
Yes.
I've an 8-year-old who plays Fortnite and Roblox and has asked me about OpenSea and
my son asking me to buy whatever on Roblox. Or not Roblox, the other thing.
Minecraft. Fortnite.
Fortnite, which is like he plays with kids from all over the world. They're his friends, but because he's Irish, was born here, he has Italian friends as well. So he gets into this group of Italian Irish, and he kind of tries to translate between the two. And he asked me to buy things, and I don't know what they are. They're packages of weapons or something like that.
It's always just about the next shiny object. Object.
So if for me, and I'm a bit older than you, but for me, these things make no sense.
Yeah.
being a Web3 guy, I understand that makes sense for others, and I want to work with others. I always work with the young people because I want to know what they like, and because they're going to set the future, not me. So if I want to stay relevant, I want to have to talk to them, and I talk to my son, and I play with him, try to understand. But for them, imagine him, my son is 11, imagine him in 10 years' time.
Yeah.
What's his world like? It's all digital, and it's all tokenization. He understands tokens better than I do. He feels them. He knows how to unlock them, how to use them. And that's where we're going.
No, that's great. And especially if they have incentivized by, good behavior, as you say, when it comes to the sustainability or to cleanify any of those apps, obviously we're headed in the right direction. Usually I finish up the podcast with a couple of quick fire questions. So I'll just shoot these next three at you.
And I need to answer fast.
Fast as you can. Now, if you can give a sentence or two, that'd be great.
Yeah, okay.
Something you wish you did earlier in your career.
Buy more Bitcoin.
Yeah, that's an obvious one.
That's an easy one. I think all of us in this room can.
Everyone says that. The most important risk that you took and why?
Joining VeChain. It was a big risk. Why? Because I saw, when I was talking to Sunny, I saw that we could bring the Web3 to the people. So that's why it's the most important. I mean, the impact that I can have is massive. So it's the most important risk, but it's still a risk because you leave a safe job in a large corporation. They're never gonna let you go unless you really do. And then you bring your family along this trip, because a Web3 job means that you gotta have a Web3 family that understands that you're gonna have to meet Martin today. You're gonna be in San Francisco next week for a hackathon and the Hive when we're launching with Better DAO. But that's why it's the most important one, the most important risk that I've got.
Yeah, definitely worth taking. Last one. For someone who doesn't understand blockchain or crypto, what one book or even one video or one documentary would you tell them to watch or read?
The first book should be Mastering Bitcoin from Antonopoulos. I think it's the one you really need to get your hands on. It's the one that we all read at the beginning. Now, maybe too technical, but that's the one. I suggest also the books from Tapscott. They're quite consumable for everyone. When he talks about the blockchain revolution, it's a good one, and then he splits them into financial services and others. So he has a series of books. So the Tapscott book series, they're quite good. And I'm talking about someone non-technical here, someone that wants to learn. So Mastering Bitcoin may be slightly too technical in some parts, but really shows to you what Bitcoin is trying to solve. The problem is that then the Tapscott books, the Blockchain Revolution and the series around financial services, etc., they are consumable for everyone. You know, your mom.
My mom, I'm going to buy her that book then.
That book, Blockchain Revolution. In my view, if I had to buy it to my mom. But I read all of them. Digital Asset, Digital Gold, you name it. The Trust Machine, the Truth Machine, you name it. At the beginning, I was reading all of them. That's all I was doing. Now I stopped because it's over-consuming. Like a good one I like also is the Bitcoin Standard, but again, very technical from economics and financial services point of view. If you need someone just to start, give them these ones.
Tapscott, okay, now that's a good list to have. But look, Antonio, thanks for coming on the podcast.
Thank you, man.
It was great having you. Looking forward to seeing the journey of VeChain and obviously your career. So thanks once again.
Thanks,
Cheers.
Emilio.